check. 3, 2, 1. Thanks for joining us today on the ISC Sports Network. My name is Greg Rakestraw, and through the great partnership that we have with the good folks at Coca-Cola of Kokomo, we have partnered again to bring you another season. It's kickoff in football. It's basketball season. Tip-off special. We invite some of the top schools from across the area. So boys and girls teams at Tipton, boys and girls teams at Kokomo. The Taylor boys teams, both Carroll boys and girls teams. And for the first time, we are joined by the boys squad from the Berries of Logansport, as they are now a part of the Coca-Cola of Kokomo family. We'll go in depth on their season. For the girls, they're likely a game in. For the boys, they just started practice, but we will talk about their expectations, their goals, what they've been proud about playing for their hometown teams to this point in their career, and what their expectations are for a lot of these young men and women that are joining us in their senior season, their last year representing their hometown on their chest. And again, this would not be possible without our friends at Coca-Cola of Kokomo, cckokomo.com, Kokomo Coke on Twitter and social media is where you can find out more. We'll get the party started in a matter of moments. Thanks for joining us, and it's happy basketball season, everybody. Back with more in a moment here on ISC.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
Welcome back for our first of 2 segments talking about the Kokomo boys basketball team, last year's runner-up in Class 4A. And once again, kind enough to join us here at the Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo, it is Coach John Peckinpah of the Wildcats. It's always good to see you, my friend. And, that kind of preamble is going to be with you all year. Made it to the state championship game a year ago. Looking back on last season, what memories immediately come flooding back to your mind?
Just, watching our community get so involved and in the trip to state, and just kind of how they rallied behind our guys and supported us. Our crowds and the sectional, regional, semi-state were unbelievable. I think our fans sold out our side of Gambridge as quick as a Taylor Swift concert.
They sold out everybody else's side too. Absolutely,
everybody else's, yeah. But just it's old school Indiana basketball still in Kokomo with how the community gets involved, and that's pretty neat to see. And then our guys, just how they continue to get better all season. just like this year, we had a really challenging schedule early on and took some tough losses to some really, really good teams, and we felt like that really prepared us for our tournament run. And just kind of watching our guys buy in and believing in each other and just peaking at the right time was pretty cool.
Because so many people from the outside looking in just only think about Flory Badunga on your team. I know you had a lot of seniors that you surrounded him with on that team a year ago. Just your thoughts about the absence of those guys to your program this year.
It starts with guys like Shane Spear, Xavier Bellamy, and Patrick Hardiman that we lost out of our starting lineup. Those guys did a lot of things for us. Both ends of the floor, I think Patrick Hardiman was probably one of the best defenders in the state of really taking guys out of the game. Xavier Bellamy was an unbelievable point guard and playmaker for us. He made his teammates better. Then Shane was kind of like our leader on both ends of the floor, really, really good off the ball defensively. Offensively, when we needed a bucket, we usually got him and Flory in a ball screen and made something happen. Those three guys, and then the support roles like DeAndre Kirby and Jace Rail was an unbelievable teammate. Those guys, they all chipped in and made our team special. So losing those 5 seniors is always tough. We're fortunate enough to have talent that got better last year, pushing those guys to be better. So we're excited about who we have coming back, but those are big holes to replace, and it's going to take some time to replace them, but we feel like we have guys that can do it.
All right, let's talk about new faces. I know obviously you got Reese Beard, you got Flory Badunga, and we'll get to both those guys in a moment, but you also have some new faces on the team this year. So who are the guys that you need immediate contributions from to make it back to that level, if not win one more game?
I think you start there with Flory and then Reese. I think the most important piece, and you saw growth in the state tournament, is Carson Rogers, and he'll be on here in a little bit. But he had a great state tournament run. I think he had a game-winning block at Penn and had a really heady play of not even inbounding the ball, and had some really big games down the stretch for us. He has the potential to be a big-time player. Definitely a guy college coaches should be looking at. He's 6'7" now, probably long, athletic, can play on the perimeter. Just makes us a little bit more versatile with his length and athleticism. And then you got guys that are coming up. Barris Moore is a transfer who is a Kokomo kid who brings in some athletic ability at the guard spot, some size. Then Reese Beard also is another guy who's just a spark plug who did a lot for us these last 2 years, but his leadership is going to be huge.
All right, let's talk about Flory. We got 4 questions in before we get in depth in terms of him, and that's usually 3.5 more than it comes to most folks. Everyone wowed at his athleticism and him being a great teammate in watching him play a year ago. How is he a better player now than he was back then?
Just continue to get more comfortable with the ball in his hands. You'll see him on the perimeter a little bit more this year for us, and actions to get him into the post. But you'll see him, he's a better passer now. He can read situations better now. He's just more comfortable playing the game. And then he's always going to be the best athlete on the floor, the hardest playing kid on the floor. And I think he's one of the best teammates on the floor. So those things, when you're so-called best player is all those things, it makes the head coach's job pretty easy.
We will obviously ask him about this, but now knowing that the recruitment side of things is behind him, he knows where he's playing his college basketball. What do you think that means? Maybe there's a little bit less of that national spotlight on him there than it was a year ago.
I think he's really happy with his decision, and the pressure's off. He's got a good relationships with the coaches at Kansas and knows what he needs to work on and is working on those things. But now he can just kind of enjoy this last high school season, enjoy his teammates, and hopefully continue to grow as the leader and lead our guys along with Carson and Reese to get them back to where we were last year.
Before we were on the air with this, you and I joked we're going to be seeing a lot of each other from November 25th through the Hall of Fame Classic. I think we have Kokomo 8 times over the course of that kind of 35-day stretch in the ISC Sports Network. Your opening schedule is a meat grinder, but it gets you ready for the state tournament. Just your thoughts about what that slate looks like for you this year.
It's going to be great for our guys. We got a lot of young guys that are on this team. Zion Bellamy was hurt last year for a majority of the season. He played big minutes for us as a freshman. It's going to be good to get him in those type of games to get him ready for the state tournament run along as our other guys, so they're prepared for games that we're going to see in sectional finals, regionals. Hopefully, if we can stay the course and continue to get better.
All right, the other big change that has happened since you and I last had a conversation, you're a dad now. Congratulations. Little guy is actually here behind the cameras. How has that been a life-changing experience for you?
Oh, it's great. It's can't really put it into words, but it's nice to go home from practice and then kind of just forget about it if it was a bad practice, because hanging out with him is the best thing.
Yep, and again, of course, it's two coaches in the Peckinpah family that are spending time with Jax these days as well. John, thank you so much for the time, buddy. Good luck this year, and we'll see you coming up on November the 25th.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
Stay tuned. We'll talk more Wildcats hoops when we come back. Again, as the tip-off special here from Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo, presented by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. We're back in a moment on the ISC Sports Network.
Brewer jams it home.
That ball wiggles in and into the back of the net.
A little fireworks in the first half.
Throw it up for Tillman.
Whoa, my goodness.
122.60 for Penn. What a swim. Six of them.
Welcome back. Again, we're talking about the Kokomo Wildcats here on the Coca-Cola of Kokomo tip-off special on the ISC Sports Network. To my left, it is Carson Rogers. To my right, it is Flory Badunga. And far right, it is Reese Beard. Both Reese and Flory a part of this show last year. Carson, let's start with you. We just talked to Coach Peckinpah, and he said that you made tremendous progress from the beginning of last year to the end of last season. How do you think you're an even better basketball player than you were at this time a year ago?
I just keep improving. I mean, my teammates are around me, are always supporting. You have a coach like Coach Peckinpah. He's always trying to bring you up and make you a better player. And the support we get from our fans, it's easy to keep getting better and better and better. As our success, it brings a lot of joy to the city. You just want to keep improving.
It is rare that you guys play in front of an empty seat, it seems, these days. And my guess is you hear a lot about, hey, it's like the old school days. That's like how it used to be. What is that experience like as a teenager to play in front of thousands of fans every game?
I mean, it's amazing. As soon as you make a basket or get a huge block, the fans just erupt, and it just makes you feel better inside. Like, you know you're playing for someone more than just yourself.
And obviously you got to play in front of about 17 or 18,000 fans last year for a state championship. I know winning the game was the goal. You came up a little bit short against an historically great Ben Davis team. What was that night like for you and your teammates? I
mean, it's just a lot of pressure. I mean, of course, we were going in anxious, pretty nervous, big game. But, I mean, I feel like we were ready to play. We just didn't come out on top at the end.
How much of a motivating factor has that loss been for you and your teammates all offseason?
It's been a huge one. Of course, we want to get back to the state game and hopefully this year win it all.
That sounds good, Carson. We'll get back to you in a matter of moments. Flory, it is good to see you. You are used to doing these interviews and having these cameras shine on you. So first of all, the letter jacket you're wearing now, you can pass off next year at Kansas as well. Why was Kansas the right place for you?
I just feel like Kansas will get me ready for the next level for sure. Love the coaching staff, the coaches, all the people, the place when I've been there was extremely amazing for me, and I was just feeling like this is the right place for me.
The big news after you announced you're going to play for Bill Self was that you're going to be playing high school soccer. Obviously, that's in the rearview mirror now. What was playing soccer, a different high school sport, what was that like for you for a few weeks?
I remember playing soccer back home, and then that was amazing. The feeling on it, to get back on it. This is my senior year, obviously trying to have fun and stuff, so that was a goal for me.
All right, so I've talked to Coach Peckinpah about maybe basketball players that you could compare to. From a soccer standpoint, who's your favorite player? When you were out there on the pitch, who were you trying to emulate?
I used to be a Real Madrid fan.
Yeah.
So I'll go for Ronaldo for sure. Yeah, that's my dude.
All right. I know literally I could see it in your game from the beginning of last year to the end, the progress and the development that you made. What were the things you were really trying to work on and hone on the most this offseason?
First of all, I'm going to say what Carson said. We have that kind of support, fan-wise, coaching-wise, and then parent, everything. So they really push you through and then, just keep going better at everything. And then obviously it's a stuff that you don't get, so you have to work on it, dribbling, stuff, shooting, passing, rebounding, all of the stuff. So yeah, we keep working on it.
In watching you play last year, you know, so many people would say, hey, why is he not shooting three-pointers? Or why is he not doing this? It's because you were playing your role on the team.
Right.
How do you feel your role on this team? Does it change that much this season, or is it going to be more of the same that we've seen from you the last couple of years?
I would say that we change a lot because obviously this is a new team. You know, I mean, we have a couple players leaving up and then the other one coming up. So that would be like a big changement. We just have to stay on top of it and then getting back with that leadership that we used to have before.
Flory, we'll come back to you in a second. I'll make sure we include Reese in here. And Reese is a veteran of these now because we do this for both football and basketball as well. First of all, let's talk football. I know you're a little disappointed that the football season is now over. What is that transition like for you, quickly going from football sectional championship game to first day of basketball practice a day ago?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. But to be honest, I'm used to it at this point, fourth year doing it. I mean, I was glad we got pretty far in football. Nobody really expected us to get that far. I'm proud of my guys, and I'm ready for the ride for basketball, hopefully win us a state championship.
All right, to be in that state, as a Kokomo kid, to be in that state title game last year, I know you wanted to win. I understand that, but just what was that entire month of postseason basketball like for you?
It was crazy. Honestly, my personal favorite was the semi-state. We got to stay in the hotel, chill with the friends in the lobby, the teammates. That was probably my favorite. But the state experience, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, it didn't even feel real. Like, shooting free throws, like, seeing through, and then seeing the stands all the way up, it was just crazy.
Reese, how does your role, and again, because of so many of your teammates that graduated off of last year's team, you played an important part, definitely, the last couple of years. How do you have to be a different player this year than you were the last couple?
I'm definitely going to have to be more effective offensively, but just bringing the energy regardless. If I'm starting, if I'm coming off the bench, it doesn't matter. Just playing my role and doing the best I can whenever I'm on the floor. Who
are the new teammates or new players that fans should be looking out for on the Kokomo varsity this year?
I know Barris Moore.
I will take his place because you've been busy with football
really
season.
So you have the better scouting report. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a lot of freshmen coming up. Some player who get transfer and stuff.
Sure.
And then, yeah, that would be like a big changement. But just as you said, we just have to stay like coming back with that leadership that we used to have, and then bring it up together again.
Reese, you've heard to chime in if you want to.
Yeah, with the new guys, it's definitely going to be different. But I think they're all talented and they're going to fit in right well, and we'll be just as good as last year, if not better.
All right, Flory, back to you. And obviously, this has been such a world of change for you over these last 24, 25, 26 months. When you first arrived here 2 years ago, could you have ever imagined what all of this has turned into?
Obviously not, Yeah, I mean, since I'm going through it and then you just keep pushing up and then everything's like coming through and then coming clear for me.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's pretty fun.
And there are so many people, again, that don't know your backstory and don't know the way this town has embraced you that go, oh, well, he's a great national level player. You should go the prep school route or go play somebody else. Why is wearing that jacket and staying here so important to you?
Obviously, Kokomo, I would say, is a big family town because when I came here, first of all, everybody showed me love. I was feeling like love everywhere I was going. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty big thing. And then obviously I made people like show me the way. And then, being who I am right now is not just my own efforts, like basically everybody, So, yeah.
All right, with that, I want to make sure I get a couple more words with both Carson and Reese. Carson, what should people know about Flory? I think they know his basketball skills as a teammate, as a friend, as a person. What do you want them to know about Flory Badunga?
Flory, he's obviously an incredible basketball player, but my biggest experience with Flory is being a friend off the court. We go to lunch every once in a while. We share open lunch together so we get to leave for school. It's just that experience, and it's just like whenever we go out to eat, there's always other people coming up to him, oh, you're Floyd, can I get a picture? Or you that Kansas guy? And it brings joy to my face just to see someone coming from a different country. And it's it's succeeding. It's great to see. I mean, I just enjoy being Floyd's friend off the court and let alone sharing the court with such a talent like him.
Reese, same thing for you. Again, you get to know him as a person, as a basketball player. What should folks know about Floyd?
I mean, everyone knows he's a great basketball player, but he's an even better person off the court. And he's always positive. He's always there. I mean, you'd think, like, he'd be real cocky, but he's not at all. He's just a big, tough, soft guy. Yeah. In the inside, though.
And $1 million smile, as you can see by that as well. We finished the interview this way last year. We're doing it again this year. Fellas, good luck. Good luck. Bon chance, mon ami.
Merci beaucoup.
Again, you guys have a tremendous season. We'll see you a lot on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening.
Thank you.
Again, the Kokomo Wildcats joining us. Back with more in a moment here on ISC.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Welcome back here on the ISC Sports Network. Our season tip-off special continues from Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo, and we are thrilled to be joined now by the Wildcats on the girls' side, although, frankly, the last name of the coach stays the same. It's Haley Peckinpah that joins us now. We'll get to Kamaria White and Asia Elliott coming up in a matter of moments, but I guess I could ask you about the team, but let me ask you about the addition of the family.
Yep.
How's the growing family doing so far?
It's going good, not getting a lot of sleep, but it's worth it. And, he's growing and healthy, and that's all we can ask for.
How do you balance 2 basketball teams and a 5-month-old in the Peckinpah household?
We try our best. Don't have an answer for that yet, but I might be able to give you one eventually.
Right. How often does little man make it to either the boys or girls basketball practices?
He's been to a few of ours, been to a few of the boys, but I'm sure he'll be making his appearance sooner rather than later when he can crawl and start crawling around everywhere and, let the girls babysit him a little bit. So.
All right, let's talk now about the season opener. You got an opening win at Blackford last week. Tell me about it.
We struggled offensively last week. We didn't score much, but our defense is going to be our identity most of the year, and we showed that. We held them to 30 points. So, we just really want to focus on, trying to get the ball in the basket and using our, age to our advantage.
All right, so let's start with Kamaria. Thank you so much for joining us. And what are some of the goals that you've set for this year?
Just looking to score and just winning every game.
Every game.
That's a great. It's why you play them, right?
Yeah.
Asia, same question for you. What are some of the things that are going to make this a successful season for you?
Scoring more, looking for me open shots, driving to the basket a lot.
Yep. Kamaria, what was your takeaway? Obviously, you won the game. That was the most important thing. What are you looking to improve on from last week's victory against Blackford?
I feel like we should play as a team more and then look to score.
Well, you've had about 4 or 5 practices since that time. Have you seen that in practice since that game?
Yeah.
Good. Asia, same question for you. What were your takeaways from your season opening win?
I feel like we got to have better team chemistry and, trust each other more and, move the basketball, get some more passes before we take another second chance shot.
Little Normandale 4 passes. I like that.
Gotta have it.
All right, Coach. What do you think of those answers you've heard in terms of, hey, we got to be a little better from a team standpoint?
I think they've heard me talking a little bit. I think that it's really important for us to take the best possible shot. When we're not a great shooting team, it's going to be really important to do that. And sometimes that best shot might not be what they think is best, but we're working on trying to see what that is.
Why these two? Why are this duo joining us here for the show tonight?
They're both 4-year starters. They're both seniors, both all-conference. They are what makes this team go around, and they're our leaders, and so, they deserve to be up here.
Kamaria, what has it meant to you to be a 4-year starter and to represent your hometown with the letter jacket you're wearing tonight?
It was great, for real.
And then, Asia, for you, what has it meant to have, either Kokomo or Wildcats across your chest since your freshman year?
It means a lot to me.
Yeah, it's like an honor for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. What has this been like? And this is for any of you. Obviously, you see the thousands that are flocking to see the boys' basketball games, a lot of conference doubleheaders where you're playing right in front of them. What has it been like kind of being so close to that atmosphere these last couple of years?
I think it makes the girls play harder. You know, they have more people at the games. They have more of a cheer block. They have more to play for. You know, the boys went to a state championship. Like, okay, now why can't we go to a state championship? You know, so I think it's important for them to play in front of a lot of people and show their talents.
I asked the ladies what their goals were for this year. What about for you? What are some of the goals you set for this team?
To win a sectional. And I think that, you know, universally, their goals are individual. You know, they want to get better. They want to get better at scoring because we've talked about individual goals a lot. But as a team goal, your goal is to win a sectional. You know, I have 6 seniors. There's no reason why we can't, you know, try to get that goal. But it takes a lot of hard work, and people don't realize how hard it is to win a sectional.
Out of the and obviously, when I say the Competition North Central Conference, that frankly is really what your sectional is.
Yep.
Is a smaller version almost of a conference tournament, at least as it stands now, before things kind of split apart.
Right.
But how does the North Central Conference shake down this year?
It's winnable. You know, Harrison lost a few seniors, but they gained a few girls coming back. McCutcheon has a really good freshman. That's one of the best freshmen in the nation, I believe. But there's no reason why we can't compete every night, and they just have to believe that.
I know you're hoping to write kind of your best chapter at Kokomo at some point this year. What's been a highlight for you playing for the Wildcats so far? Favorite moment up until this point?
I don't know.
Means it's yet to be written, right?
Yeah.
All right. Asia, what about you? Favorite moment up until this point playing for the Cats?
I feel like it's a lot of moments, though.
When we bring energy to each other.
Yeah.
Lighten each other up and just talk
Pick
a good
each other
word.
up.
Yeah.
Being a good teammate?
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Ladies, we'll let you end on that one. Coach, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on the new addition to the family. And best luck in the next game. Peru coming up on Thursday, right?
Got Peru, yep.
Good luck, ladies. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Stay tuned. More of our season preview for the Kokomo Wildcats comes your way next as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network. Throw it up for Tillman.
Whoa. My goodness. 122.60 for Penn.
What a swim. 6 of them.
Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network. It is the Coca-Cola of Kokomo tip-off special. We're recording this at Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo, and we invite some of the top players and coaches, schools that are serviced by Coca-Cola of Kokomo, and that is the case for the Carroll Cougars, both the boys and girls programs joining us for a second year in a row. And girls head coach Brady Wiles kind enough to join us, and we're going to let people kind of see behind the curtain here. You have a bit of a unique job in addition to coaching the girls basketball program at Carroll. So I'm assuming you had practice before you came here today, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so normally people say, okay, that means your day is over. Not for Brady. What are you going to do after we film this interview?
Well, I'm a flight paramedic as well, so I'll leave dinner tonight and go up to Rochester and work on the helicopter. So that's what I do in all my spare time.
I was going to say, what spare time do you have, and how do you balance those two very unique jobs?
That's true. It's not as bad as people think, but you just make your schedule way out in advance and make time for everything.
I was going to say, is there time, or you simply have to tell, hey, listen, I can't be at practice today? How do you work around that?
No, I mean, I missed probably 1 or 2 practices in the last couple of years. So I'm lucky to have a great staff. So if I ever have to do that, they're able to fill in and not miss a beat. So
well, clearly missing a beat's not been a problem for this team. 22-4 last year, lost the sectional final. Again, on the girls' side, we've already had some games played. So coach's squad beat Frankfurt handily in game number 1. What did you learn about your team in that season opener last week?
Yeah, I think it's just good to get back out on the floor and see the girls play hard. We have had one big-time player coming back this year off of injury, so it was really good to see her get out on the floor. Lainey Johnson, you'll see her here in a bit.
Yep.
But, it was a lopsided victory, and we kind of knew that going into it. So just really seeing her get back out on the floor and seeing the girls mesh was good to see.
I had a chance to see Allie Harness represent the state playing for the Indiana Junior All-Stars back in June. Obviously, she is one of the top, really probably 3 or 4 players in the state, frankly, going into this, her senior year. How have you seen her even improve from being a great player the first 3 years to this, her senior year?
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely improved every year, but, you know, I don't know if this is even able to be believed, but she's taken the biggest step from last year to this year. You know, I was kind of thinking about some questions that might be asked tonight, and one of them was, you know, who's your most improved player? I would have to say Allie. She has rounded her game immensely, you know, from her freshman, sophomore year, but even from last year to this year, specifically defensively and her passing. She's taken a huge step. So I'm excited. She's a great leader, a great representative of our program. So definitely lucky to have Allie, and you know, we one more season, so not taking it for granted.
You have a tremendous amount of returning talent and experience. How much in the way of new faces do you have to work in with this group?
Not a lot, honestly. You know, we're struggling with numbers as everyone in the state. So we actually had 0 freshmen come out. So there was no one new to our program, which, you know, is good and bad. Obviously the numbers were lower, but you know, we were able to hit the ground running as far as knowing what they're doing and stuff like that. So as far as newcomers, you know, we've got a couple from the JV that are taking the next step up that have looked pretty good. And then, of course, Laney coming back off of injuries will be a massive boost for us.
All right, so with that, you guys have won so many games. I referenced 22 games a season ago. So the bar is set very high. What are some of the goals that you have set for this team heading into the early stages of the season?
Well, you know, we were realistic as a team last year. We had exit meetings, and, you know, we all talked. They agreed. It might sound harsh. We were 22-4 and really didn't meet any of our goals last year. You know, we tied for first in our conference, but lost the head-to-head with Clinton Prairie. Got beat in the sectional championship, and also got beat in the holiday tourney championship. So it's been great motivation for a very good off season. You know, again, we won 22 games. I'm not going to take that for granted, but with the talent we have, you know, we've got to take the next step. And you know, they say the same things, and you know, when everyone's on the same page, it hopefully will result in, you know, a special postseason this year.
I know that we talked a variation of this last year when we had these conversations. You guys at Carroll have been riding the wave. As we're recording this, the football team set for a number 2 versus number 3 showdown in the regional. There's been success in girls basketball, boys basketball. I think of the baseball team, the success they have had. What has this been like to see everybody wearing that shade of blue be so successful these last few years?
It's really cool, and you know, coming from a small community and a community that really invests into sports, it's great to see the results. It's great to see the support that we get from the community. It's special, and it's been a fun ride. And when you have athletes like, you know, Allie and Madison from the girls' side, and, you know, Jake and Owen Duff from the boys' side, and, you know, the Ellis kid in football, they're all great kids. They're great students, and you know, it's just been, like you said, it's been fun to wear the Carroll blue the last 3 or 4 years.
You literally have a flight to catch, so we'll let you get to it. Coach, thanks for the time, and best of luck this season.
Thanks for having us.
Grady Wiles, again, the girls' head coach at Carroll High School, back with more in a moment as you're watching the 2023 Coca-Cola Tip-Off Special here from Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo. Back in a moment on ISC.
Hey there, I'm Jake Query.
And I'm Derek Schultz.
Derek, do you know what we do not have in common with Ted Lasso?
What's that, Jake?
We made it beyond 3 seasons.
Oh, we're going to make it like 30, 40, 50 seasons. As long as your heart holds out, that is. Query and Schultz every Tuesday night. You can watch it right here on the ISC Sports Network, on our YouTube channel, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, X, podcast, whatever it is. Just call it whatever you want.
Twitter doesn't exist.
Just make sure Tuesday nights, Query and Schultz, 7:30, all season long right here on the ISC Sports Network.
We outlasted Twitter.
We did.
Welcome back here on the ISC Sports Network. It is our 2023 Coca-Cola of Kokomo Tipoff special. And here we're talking with the Carroll Cougars on the girls' side. Again, after a 22-4 season last year, they have high aspirations for this season as well. To my left, it is Madison Wagner. To my right, it is Allie Harness and Lainey Johnson. Ladies, thanks for joining us on the show this year. We appreciate it. And you guys are already a game into your season. Madison, we'll start with you. Tell us about the season opening win against Frankfort.
So we knew going into it that we just want to make sure that we are enforcing what we were learning in practice, which was our defense and putting in an offense. And I say we would do that. We did that. Our goal was to keep them under, I think it was 25, and we did that.
They scored 17. You were successful in that regard. We just talked to Coach in the previous segment, and he said, hey, the goals you guys have set are pretty high, and that you won a lot, but you didn't kind of hit those goals last year. Just kind of your thoughts on that statement and what's going to make this a good year for you.
Yeah, so we had a ton of goals last year, and besides the 21 season, we didn't have anything to really back it up hardware-wise. So we're going to hit the ground running this season, and we've talked about it with everybody about our goals, and we just want to be able to keep each other accountable throughout practices in the season and making sure we're hitting each of them.
Now, I know that you're going to keep playing college basketball going forward. Trine University up in Angola is where you are heading. Why was that the right place for you?
They've just always reached out. Well, they reached out, and they just continued throughout the past summer and a half. And I just felt so welcomed when I went and visited. The coaches really wanted me, and the style that they play is how I fit in best there.
Well, Allie, I know that you're going to go a little farther north than that. You're going to Kalamazoo, Western Michigan. Why were the Broncos the right choice for you going forward?
When I first went on my official visit, I think it was last fall, I just felt instantly like it was a family. And I clicked with all the teammates. I clicked with the coaches. I felt like they were already part of my family. So that was a big goal for me, was to just have a family atmosphere, because I'm going, out of state, and 3 hours away from home doesn't seem like a lot. But to me, it's a little ways, because I've never been that far away from home before. So a big family was a big part of it. And just the way they play basketball is just like how I play. So that's a big part of my decision, too, and I just can't wait to get up there.
I've had the pleasure of doing a handful of games in that building for men's college basketball. Love that arena. It's
I do, too.
Really cool place to play, and I'm happy for you on that choice.
Yeah.
We had the pleasure of seeing you play, represent Indiana for the Junior All-Stars this summer. What was that experience like for you?
It was an unbelievable experience. It's been my dream to play in the Indiana All-Star game since I was little, and just to live throughout that dream and hopefully be able to play it again on my senior year is just a really big goal for me. And I just loved all the girls, and I loved playing for Indiana. So it was just a really good experience.
You also had a really good game against the seniors, if I remember well, at Cathedral High School.
Yeah.
That didn't hurt your chances for being a senior all-star.
Yeah.
You heard what I asked Madison in terms of some of the goals that you have, and again, it's obviously been a tremendous 3-year run for you at Carroll. What's going to make your senior season special for you?
Just like if we all play together and make sure we are playing together and just being on the same page as goal-wise, and make sure we're taking every practice seriously and playing our heart out for every game. And it's our last year, so we got to go out big.
Lainey, I hear that you are coming back from an injury.
Yes.
Kind of walk us through what you've been dealing with.
Well, last season I basically was sidelined, and so I had to watch the game from a different perspective. And so that kind of helped me to realize where I need to focus this season, and body language, and just kind of going out there and giving it my all, with it being my last season with all these girls. Since I'm not going on to play college basketball, I'm giving it 110%, because this is all I have.
All right, so with that, that frankly experience stinks, having to sit and watch while so many wins are being racked up last year. But from a mental standpoint, kind of watching the game and picking up the game, what did you learn from that?
I think overall I just learned that communication is key. You can't just go out there and think that because you have the physical ability that you're capable of doing a lot. I think it comes to the mental aspect too, just being able to think that you can do it. And going back into it after my injury, I have to really kind of take my mind off of being able to be hurt again, because then I'm not going to play to my full capability, and I think that will put me in a setback position, and I want to kind of go out to every single game and give 110% without that being a worry.
Allie, how is your team better because Laney's now back on the floor?
She's just so aggressive with the ball, and she's just another scorer on our team, and she knows what to do with the ball in certain situations, and she never really turns it over. So we really missed her last year. I'm so happy to have her back.
Same question for you, Madison. How does Laney make you a better team being back out there?
Going off of Allie, just the aggressiveness. We definitely missed that towards a lot of games last year when they were aggressive towards us. And she's not afraid to hit somebody or let somebody hit her.
What is this team capable of doing? Just how far can this team go?
So much. We are definitely aiming for that sectional, and our schools for girls, they've never won a regional. And that's been one of our biggest goals since freshman year. We've come short, so that's the goal this whole season. Just aim for that regional.
Allie, I know that you want to write kind of the greatest chapter this year in terms of representing your school. What's been the highlight for you so far representing Carroll these last 3 years?
Just playing with my team has just been really amazing. Like, just growing up with them and playing like we know how to play, and we're just all on the same. We're just ready to win a sectional and ready to win a regional and maybe go on from there. And I think we can do it. And we just build so much from freshman year. We've gotten stronger. We've gotten smarter with the ball. We've gotten more comfortable with each other, and we are just on the same page, and we're ready to make it a great year.
All right, so Laney, I've got the college plans for these two. What's the plans after high school? For even if there's no basketball, what's the plans for you after high school?
My plans so far to go to Purdue and study in landscape architecture.
Nothing wrong with that. Ladies, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on what you've accomplished so far, and best of luck in this, your senior season.
Thank you so much.
Again, time to be joined by some of the key members of the Carroll girls program. Stick around and stay tuned. More comes your way next. Coca-Cola of Kokomo season tip-off special right here on ISC.
Many communities in rural America are often overlooked as underserved. These communities are being left behind due to lack of internet and access to state-of-the-art technology. That's why Mulberry Telecommunications provides rural broadband services and technology and is growing their presence in north central Indiana. Because every community deserves infrastructure and beyond. To learn more, contact us today.
Time to talk more about the Carroll Cougars here on the ISC Sports Network. Their girls program has been on a flyer. The boys can say the same as well. Last year, 22-5 in sectional champs, and their second-year head coach, Adam Tussinger, joins us now. Coach, it's good to see you again, and I know that practice started a day ago, but also because of being a small school that's had a great run going in football, my guess is not all the guys you normally have available to you can be in practice. So just how are the numbers the last couple of days?
I mean, it's a good problem to have,
right?
I mean, we love anytime any of the teams in our school are doing well, so we start with that, but yeah, we've had 10 or 11 the last 2 days. So obviously looks a little bit different than having all those football guys there with us, but we've just had that mentality of we're going to do what we can with the group that we've got, and however long this football run goes, whether it's this week through 2 more weeks. Obviously, we hope it continues to go past this week, and then when those football guys get there, we'll integrate them in. But until then, we wish them the best and hope they continue to do well.
Does the Friday football game start to have an impact on your schedule after that in terms of if you get past that one, do some games start getting moved?
Yes. We'd have to start talking about at least one, if not multiple, which, again, we deal with that. I'd love to be in that scenario. Basketball will come when basketball comes. So
well, and we touched about this with the girls, and frankly, we talked about this a year ago too. This has been this pretty remarkable multiple teams being really good at your high school. What has that been like, kind of feeding off each other these last couple of years?
Oh, it's huge. It's like you said, it's multiple years. It's not just necessarily one sport, not just necessarily like 1-2 years. It's been multiple years with teams that expect to compete. And again, culture is a word that sometimes gets overused, I feel like, but at the same point in time, I mean, you have all these kids that play on multiple sports. Like we said, we're missing those football guys. Well, their mentality of they're going to go out and win that football game every Friday night, and they've been successful doing that. That carries over to the next sport too. So when they get on the basketball court, they have that same mentality. So it just all feeds off each other.
You set the bar pretty high, and you're number one, 22 wins and a sectional championship. Those things are obvious accomplishments. What are the things that people may not see that make you proud about year number one as a head coach?
Biggest things, just honestly, the guys. I mean, as much as it's easy to look at a coach and say, hey, you had this record and you won these games. I mean, what we as a program have done the last couple of years all has to do with a couple of guys you'll talk to in a minute, and obviously all the guys who played last year too. And just their ability to support each other. And that's a big thing too. Not only like you talk about, we have good teams and things like that, but you see those teams, they go and support. Like we'll have basketball guys that go out to the football game on Friday, go to the soccer games and go to the girls' basketball games and support each other. So the thing just behind the scenes is that almost like family type feeling of camaraderie between everybody in the school.
Because you guys have accomplished so much, I know there's more you feel you can accomplish. Is there a lot of goal setting that you do, or is it more just kind of the day-to-day process or a combination of the two?
For me personally, I think I'm more focused on the day-to-day part because as much as we want to say, hey, we want to hit, this record or we want these goals set out in front of us, right? If we don't do what we're supposed to do each and every day in practice and start paying attention to the little stuff, I mean, it starts to compound, and then any of those goals you had for yourself long-term, they kind of go out the window. So from my point of view, I mean, I told them they have high expectations for themselves, and I'm good with that. I'm great with that. I said, but we've got to know that we've got to work day in and day out. Nothing's going to be handed to these guys, and I think they believe that, and they're really ready and willing to work for it. So.
Tell us about the young men that will be joining us in the next segment of the show.
So we've got Chris Huerta. He's returning last year. He was our leading scorer last year. Going to play, obviously, a very integral role. He has the last 3 years, and he will this year as well. And then joining him this year, we've got Eli Harshbarger, who was our sixth man, kind of almost like a quintessential fifth starter in a sense. I mean, he didn't start, but he played big minutes off the bench. So, and then Eli Falkenberg will be here as well. He's coming up from the JV. He got a little bit of varsity time last year in different games, but looking forward to seeing what those three can do and hopefully help lead us into this season.
Adam, as always, thanks for the time and best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Again, Adam Tussinger, head coach of the Carroll boys. We'll talk to his players when we come back as you're watching the 2023-24 Coca-Cola of Kokomo season tip-off special right here on ISC. Carroll basketball, our conversation this segment here on the ISC Sports Network. It is our annual Coca-Cola of Kokomo season tip-off special. And joining us to my left is Chris Huerta. To my right, it's Eli and Eli. This one is Harshberger. This one is Falkenberg. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. And Chris, because you're on the show last year, you get to start the conversation this time around. Just 22-5, sectional champs, a lot to be proud about.
Oh, yeah.
When you look back to last year, what's the thing that favorite memory, favorite moment, et cetera?
Honestly, just playing with the whole team, going to practices, early practices, just putting in work. It was fun being around seniors that left last year and just learning a lot from them and carrying it on with us. So.
Well, I know, again, seniors graduate, but yet you guys feel pretty confident about what you can accomplish this year, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do.
I know, first couple days of practice, the football guys have yet to join you.
Yeah.
You hope it's a couple of weeks, frankly, before they join you.
Oh, yeah.
But what has practice been like for you so far?
We've been doing a lot of drills, getting work in without the football guys. So, I mean, we're just putting in work like we always do, trying to get to where we want to be.
As a point guard, you kind of have to be a leader regardless of what class you are.
Yeah.
But now as a senior, that's even double on you. So how do you kind of handle that role maybe any differently now than you have before?
Kind of just trying to take over what Owen did last year and being leader, a passer, just more vocal on the court, just doing everything I can at my best ability.
All right, Eli, for you as well, this is your senior year, and Coach referred to it as being the super sub last year, first guy off the bench. My guess is you're starting 5 this year, correct? Or at least that's how it's trending in that direction?
Hopefully.
All right, but so how did you approach it? You knew you were going to get minutes, but you were going to get them after the opening tip-off. What was your mindset like as you were waiting to get in the game?
Just had to stay ready. Just sitting on the bench, I kind of got a little cold, but I just had to make sure that I was staying ready, watching the game. That way, when you said my name, I was able to go and just work right away.
Obviously, you knew that nothing was going to be handed to you in terms of a starting spot this year. So what did you work on your game? Where did you put in the hard work to be ready for that starting opportunity this year?
I would just say, last year my role was more to play defense and shoot just because we had a lot of ball players last year that were really good. And I didn't really need to be one of those players. But this year I'll have to improve some other parts of my game, and practice has been doing that.
All right, so Eli, a junior, and if I had to tell our audience that you do play on the football team as well, but guess a position, they might not guess it. The kicker. And so, first of all, how have you been as the kicker on the football team?
It's been pretty good. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I was a little rough on extra points, but since then, I've done pretty good. I haven't missed one in like a few weeks, and kickoffs have been pretty good.
You guys score a lot. Your leg ever get tired on those extra points? You're like getting 7, 8, or 9 a game. You okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, helps the team more, so.
All right, so Coach was talking about that you are bumping up from the JV. What's it like now being a part of a varsity that has so many expectations and has been so successful these last few years?
I mean, even last year, I was still like practicing with the varsity, and it's been good because I played with Eli last year on JV a little bit too, and I've been practicing with Chris for the last few years, so it'll just be a whole different world out there on varsity.
Are you going back and forth? Are you focusing on football right now, and you'll join these guys for practice when football is over?
I've been going to basketball practices. I go to about 2 football practices a week, and it's mostly just at the beginning, so I still get a lot of basketball in.
So in other words, you're doing both practices right now.
Yeah.
That's the way I would tell that story for you going forward. Chris, what sort of role do you expect these guys to play on your team this year?
Honestly, just be leaders and do whatever they can to push other people on the court, score the ball, play defense. That's going to be a big role in our game this year. If we can play defense and get out in transition, it's going to help us a lot. So,
Chris, what are some of the goals, whether it's individually or as a team, that you've kind of set for this coming season?
For me, to be a leader and just if we have some bad games, stay happy, stay positive about it. And as a team, I just want to get together, play good, and have fun this season.
Eli, what's going to make this a good year for you and your teammates?
I think just being around each other is a good time, but winning together is going to be fun, but also being able to lose with each other.
Eli, is there a big rivalry game you're looking forward to more than others this year?
I think that Clinton Prairie has always been a big game for us.
There's been some great games the last couple of years, haven't they?
They have.
I know it's a big deal for all you guys. Guys, first of all, for you, good luck in that big game against Adams Central on Friday night. Right down the middle. Hit them straight when you're out there. And, fellas, look forward to seeing you on the court in the very near future. Thanks for the time tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Chris Huerta, Eli Harshberger, and Faulkner. Stay tuned. More, or Falkenberg, I should say. Sorry about that, buddy. Back with more in a moment here on the ISC Sports Network. Welcome back to our high school tip-off season preview special here from Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo, again on the ISC Sports Network and presented by our friends at Coca-Cola of Kokomo. We are thrilled to be joined by the Taylor Titans. Assistant coach Leighton Adair is to my left, Connor Binion and Dre McClatchy, the players that are joining us as well. Coach, let's start with you. First of all, filling in for Bob Wannell, so thank you very much for being here. And I know last year was a really good year for you guys, so first things first, let's look back. Just thoughts about how things played out last year for your high school team.
Yeah, I thought they went really well. We started off, started off like 11 or 12-0 and really got rolling. It was nice to have. We had a ton of senior leadership last year. We had 5 seniors that had all been in the program for a while, had been under Coach Wannell for a couple years. So that was easy to get things rolling. And then we had guys like Dre and Javion Harris that joined the team, and Connor got going later in the year. And that kind of helped bring those guys along. So, as we kind of integrated those pieces, we didn't miss a beat. We had some losses we think we wish we could add back, but as the year went on, I thought we battled. We did a good job down the stretch when the schedule got a little bit tougher. Our guys were up to the challenge. We just had a couple balls bounce the wrong way, and you know how that goes. That can make or break a season there at the end.
So when you have 5 seniors that depart, a lot of people automatically think, all right, it's a bit of a rebuilding year. I get the feeling from you guys, you don't think that is the case. So how have your goals or expectations changed this year based on what you did last year?
We still have the same goals. It's to win the conference and win sectional. We've got a lot of really talented basketball players. They're young. We won't have 1 senior on our team this year, so we'll have 2 juniors. 4 sophomores, I think, and a freshman now. So, the expectations of what we expect haven't changed. And that starts. It's every day at practice. we're trying to go day by day, especially with such a young group. But at the same time, we have a ton of varsity experience in that young group with all the sophomores that played last year. And then Connor last year, when he joined us, there was about 3 games left, and we thought so much of him that he was playing varsity right away. We played him probably 20 minutes in our sectional game, so that was tough to be thrown into that as a sophomore. But with the guys we have, the needle hasn't moved expectation-wise. We expect to come out and win a lot of games and compete at a high level.
As we're having this conversation, you're literally a couple of days into practice during the first official week. Obviously, guys have been putting in the work kind of behind the scenes. How have the first couple of days of practice gone for you guys?
They've gone really well. We were talking to Coach Wanell today, and even with those seniors last year, we think defensively we're ahead of where we were at this point last year, which was a shock to us. The 6-7 varsity guys we have right now really buy in on that end. So that's been awesome to see. The communication's been better, it seems like, to this point. We just have – it seems like, as Bob's kind of built this program, Coach Wanell, it's that stuff, the expectations of the first day of practice and what's expected out of everybody has really, the whole it's known from 12th grade down to 5th grade now. So that's made starting the season off a little bit easier on us. We know as the week goes on, I'm sure it'll fluctuate as we get kids back in basketball shape. So
I was going to say, obviously you got kids that are making the transition from football here earlier in the year, correct?
Yes, yeah, we got a couple that came over. Dre was one, Javion Harris, who was a quarterback. They're joining us from football, so get their legs back underneath them here.
All right, you guys, it's unique in your schedule. You open up with the first 5 games on the road. What does that mean for the start of your season?
We'll see how it goes. That's with the young guys. We're going to learn on the fly, like with that. So, we'll have a freshman that plays, Keyshawn Galloway. So, getting him, he's going to get his feet wet right off the bat. Get Connor going again. I think it's going to be good for us as we get back home. I don't know how our schedules kind of shook out that way in the last couple of years. I know McConaughey had a floor that they had to get repaired, so we had to play. We played them at home like 3 years in a row. So that was one of those things. So I think it'll be good for us. We'll learn a lot. Sometimes we enjoy going on the road too. You just getting that away crowd, and we play some big games on the road to start the year at Northwestern and at McConaughey. They'll have really nice crowds, and that'll be good for our young guys to get used to that varsity basketball quick.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Hang right here. We're going to turn to my right. And again, we are joined by Connor Binion and Dre McClatchy. Guys, first of all, thank you very much for being here. And Connor, Coach talked about your story. Kind of explain to us why you were kind of a late season addition for Taylor High School last year.
I transferred from Northwestern
the
end of my freshman year, and they made it to where I could play JV until I think it was February 12th. Then I had full eligibility then to play varsity. So I only got about 3 games regular season and then sectionals.
What was that experience like for you in terms of knowing you would get to play on the varsity at some point in time, but having to wait until mid-February?
It was upsetting at first, but I think it helped me in the long run because I became more aggressive and more of a leader playing with JV.
All right, so with that, Coach talked about this. No seniors this year on this group, so a lot more is asked of the juniors. How is this going to be a little bit different for you in terms of a leadership role on the team this year?
It's going to be different because, I've never had to be a leader before except for last year. But I'm ready, and I think I'll do all right.
How do you like playing for Coach Wanell?
I like it a lot. He's a great coach.
Dre, Leighton talked about this. You're getting the transition going from football to basketball. How's that going for you so far?
It's going good. I'm getting back in shape a lot more.
What the difference in football shape and basketball shape is what?
The running.
You got your basketball lungs back yet?
Yeah.
Getting there? All right. Just kind of thoughts on what you guys accomplished last year. Had that great start to the season. Overall, when you look back at last season, what are you most proud of?
How we became as a team.
Yeah. What and you heard me talk with Coach Adair about this. Again, when people hear 5 seniors, they go, all right, maybe they're going to rebuild a little bit this year. I don't get that impression from you guys. What are some of the goals you're setting for this coming season?
We can all work together, and we're all going to be leaders on the team. So we're going to see how that comes this year.
You heard what I talked about with Leighton. You guys start with your first 5 games away from home. Is that a big deal for you and your teammates?
No, because we're going to disappoint their fans.
I like the atmosphere. What are some of the goals that you have set for this year?
I think our chemistry and our energy is going to be a lot better as a team. And I think teams are going to underestimate us.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out coming up over the next few weeks. How have the first couple days of practice gone for you so far?
Good.
Yeah.
A lot of conditioning.
I was going to say, Dre, we talked about this in terms of ask Connor this, but your thoughts about playing for Coach Wanell. I've known him back to his playing days at Beech Grove High School. I've known him from his days at Tinley and here locally at Kokomo. What do you like playing for Coach Wanell the most?
I love it. He pushed me all the time to get better. And yeah, he's just a good coach.
Well, again, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Guys, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck this year.
Yes, sir.
Leighton, thanks for stepping in for Coach Wanell. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, guys.
There's your look at the Taylor Titans. Stay tuned. More of our Coca-Cola of Kokomo tip-off special from Half Moon Brewery in Kokomo comes your way next as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network. Time to talk some boys basketball. The guy's been doing that for a long time in this state. Joins us now. One of my favorite conversations I get to have is Cliff Hawkins, the head coach at Tipton. Good to see him, my friend.
Thank you very much, Greg, and it's an honor to be here.
43 years of coaching Indiana high school basketball. What keeps you motivated to keep doing this every year?
I think when you work every day with young people, you try to stay younger,
right?
And they make you younger because you have to stay up with them. But I think what it is just the passion and the love for the game of basketball that I had as a young boy growing up, and I always wanted to pursue the dream of coaching, and it's fresh to me every day.
Of the numerous stops along the way, I started covering his teams at DeKalb High School and for many years at Center Grove High School. Why has Tipton been so good to you these last 4 or 5 years?
I think it's a perfect match. You know, I never dreamed when I was driving down that road that one day, and I got a call from somebody saying, "Hey, you know the job's open over here," and I was right by the Tipton exit, and I pulled off, and I got a hold of Corey Fernung, and from the rest of that's history. Of how it happened, but I think there's a matching expectation there. We have great fans. We have great kids at our school. Our kids at our school like our team.
Yeah.
They come and support. The cheerleaders are great. The band is fantastic. The sports work well together. It's a perfect place to be because we're all about doing the very best we can.
Well, you're just starting this season, so let's go back to last season. You think back to last year, what memories come flooding back to your mind?
Well, I think just the idea that, the year before we had won the sectional and we had Nate Powell. And there was a lot of things that were said, just people talking. I don't mean anything bad by it, but you just say, well, they're going to have a hard time replacing Nate, okay, which we would. But the bottom line was we found a little different way to play. And all of our players contributed in the way they could. And I think that's what stood out because they realized that we had to find a different way. And so we probably opened the floor a little bit more. We probably gave ourselves a little more room to cut and to drive to the basket. And I think those were the things. And I think our team got better defensively as the season went.
Another sectional championship, 18-7 a year ago. How many of those pieces do you bring back here for 23 and 24?
Well, we lost 2 seniors last year that started most of the time for us, but sometimes they didn't. There were sometimes 4 underclassmen and 1 senior, but we've got some very, our leading scorers back in Nolan Swan. Our other leading scorers back in Grady Carpenter and assists, And then we got Jackson Money, who's our 3rd leading scorer, and he's back and has had a great summer working. And so with those 3 guys combined with the other guys, like Landon Spidell returns, Sam Quigley returns. So we have the ability to put a group out there that's very experienced.
You've got a unique blend of kids where most kids at Tipton are playing multiple sports.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are working, and some of them on the farm during the course of the off season. In terms of being able to put the numbers into off-season workouts, what is that like for you at Tipton?
Our guys are willing to do pretty much whatever it takes, and they're kind of the 6 a.m. type guys. Okay, they're willing to do that. Now, that doesn't mean we go every day at 6 a.m.
Right.
Okay, but we go a lot at 6 a.m. And it's their call. It's you're not going to believe this, Greg, but our girls team has 2 games this week, Wednesday and Thursday at home. Okay, so they needed the gym tonight at 3 o'clock. Okay. So last night we practiced until 6 o'clock, and when we finished, the guys said 12 hours, we'll be ready to go. So we went this morning at 6 a.m. in our second practice because it's just kind of how we're built, because we wanted to be here tonight for this, because this is important. It's important, for our program and our kids. But at the same time, it just kind of just shows you the kind of guys I have. And they come in, it's quarter till 6 in the morning, and they're warming up, and you would think it's 3:30 after school.
Player coach teams. Those are always the best ones.
Yeah.
People may not think about your opener against Tri-Central as one of the state's great rivalries, but it is. The Pilgrim Cup. It is a big deal every time you guys get together. What's that atmosphere going to be like?
It'll be outstanding, but can you imagine? I go all the way back to 1981 with the Pilgrim Cup when I was on the other side.
Yeah.
I was with Tri-Central, and Dick Barr was with Tipton. Okay,
Yep.
Can you imagine as a young guy going to coach against Dick Barr? Okay,
Right.
I mean, it was just unbelievable. But he welcomed me, and I'll never forget that first game that we were in. And of those 4 games I was involved in at that time, all of them were 1 point, 2 points, 2 points, and 1 point. Okay, so you can imagine what that was like. But it's still a great rivalry. We'll never, ever not have it because it means so much to both communities.
Yeah.
And in the end, I think there's a lot of friendship within the 2 communities. I mean, Dave Driggs is superintendent. He was an assistant coach with me at Tri-Central, okay? And Gary Rue I've known forever as the AD, and of course, Jerry Fernung had a great influence on me when I was there, and I'm working now for his son Corey as the AD at Tipton. So there's just so much history that goes into it. And then for our fans, all of them can recall almost every game, it seems like.
Well, folks, there are so many great kind of traditional season opening games. As a neutral fan, there's 2 you got to go see at some point in time. You got to go see Connorsville and Union County as the Union County kids dribble from Liberty to Connorsville to kind of start it off, and you got to go to the Pilgrim Cup at least one time. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you so much, and thanks for all you do for Indiana sports, not just basketball, but Indiana sports.
Always enjoy my time with Cliff Hawkins. Okay. You can say it this way, 43 years young in terms of coaching high school hoops here in the state of Indiana. His Tipton Blue Devil players join us next for the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Tip-Off Special. Back in a moment on ISC. Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network. Want to thank our tremendous crew. J.D. Arlen, our floor director. Thanks to Vince Morelez and Jordan Shue in the truck just outside. We are here at Half Moon Brewery, and this would not be possible without the wonderful contributions of the folks at Coca-Cola of Kokomo, so to Craig and Brand and everybody behind the scenes that make this show possible. We cannot thank them enough. All right, the Tipton Blue Devils, kind enough to join us. Jackson Money to my left, Nolan Swan, Grady Carpenter to my right. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Congratulations on being sectional champs last year. Jackson, let's start with you. Just your thoughts about how last year went for you and your teammates.
And we had a few ups and downs, but, I mean, overall it was a really good season. We enjoyed it a lot.
All right, Nolan, same question for you. 18-7, lots to build on. What were your thoughts about last year's team?
It was good for the most part, but definitely some things that we didn't accomplish that we really wanted to, like getting that conference championship. Because, I mean, we thought we were the best team in that conference, and we just came up short in a rough game. But, I mean, it was really good. Just keep looking to build on that coming into this season.
Grady, thinking back to last year, what gives you kind of the greatest sense of pride?
I mean, obviously winning the sectional. We're just going to build on it. I mean, we got higher goals this year. Obviously, like Nolan said, we want to win the conference. We got a good group this year. We're older, and we're really tight. We're a really tight group. We hang out off the court as well.
So we have the top 3 scorers, I think, back from last year's team that are here on this table, and not many teams get to say that. So, Nolan, I'll start with you on this one. what were the off-season workouts like for you guys to try to accomplish these goals?
I mean, a lot of it started just in the weight room because, I mean, that was one of our biggest issues last year was we were undersized, like, physically. So, I mean, a lot of the things just trying to get stronger and faster. And then a lot of the basketball, like on-court stuff, just more defense and ball handling. I mean, most of us guys, our skills are there. So, like, we know it's just the little things that we got to get better at.
Grady, how do you feel you're a better basketball player now than you were at this time last year?
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten stronger. Like Nolan said, the weight room, really just working on becoming a more consistent shooter. Really, that's it.
Jackson, what is it like playing for Coach Hawkins again? He may not say it. He's a legend in Indiana high school basketball. 560-plus wins. Are you guys going to add a bunch to that? I know this year. What's the best part about playing for Coach Hawkins?
It's really great to play with him. He gives us a lot of freedom, but with structure, we have a lot of freedom within all of us as individuals to like work with the ball, shooting-wise, driving, and we can really just create the game as it goes.
One of the things that Cliff talked about is how much people buy into the basketball team in Tipton. You know, it's the community, it's everybody. So, Grady, I'll start with you. To kind of represent Tipton, have that across your chest, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Bigger than just me. We play for not only I don't play for my teammates, my coaches, the community. I mean, they always show out. They have a good crowd for us, and they always have our back. So it means a lot.
Nolan, we are literally 2 days into practice. First day was a 3 o'clock practice after school. This morning it was 6 a.m. What was that wake-up call like for you?
Oh, man, especially for me. I live farther than anybody, so I was up at 5 this morning. So, I mean, it was good. We got out there. We got a nice stretch in, and then we just got after it. A lot of shooting, dribbling, stuff like that. I mean, I love going in the morning. It makes me energized for the day. I love it.
You guys are young. I don't see any bags under your eyes 14 hours later. I think you're going to be just fine. Goals you set for this year. What's going to make this year a good year for you?
Like the other two said, obviously conference champions, but we're looking really for a push in the tournament this year, get far.
From an individual standpoint, Nolan, what are some of the things you're saying, all right, these are the things I have to do to make sure we as a team get where we want to go?
I definitely think I need to be better on defense for us. Like, I got in foul trouble a lot last year. I feel like that definitely needs to be addressed. And then just being a good teammate and leader for all my guys, just being a good role model.
Grady, I talked to Coach Hawkins again. I think your guys' opening game with Tri-Central is one of the cooler ones, every year. It is a kind of a headlining game. We're now 2 weeks out from that game as you and I are having this conversation. What is that atmosphere going to be like on the 21st?
Can't wait. It's always a good atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. In-county rivalry. Both schools always bring a good crowd. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be really fun.
Guys, I hear you get to sleep in tomorrow morning. Is that correct?
That is.
Afternoon practice tomorrow. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck this season.
Thanks for having us.
Jackson Money, Nolan Swan, Grady Carpenter. Back with more in a moment here on the ISC Sports Network.
Some see a student athlete working on a shot. We see a powerful lesson in persistence. Some see a student preparing for success on an exam. We see a student athlete preparing for success in life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Welcome back here on the ISC Sports Network. We continue on with our 2023 Coca-Cola of Kokomo season tip-off special. One of the coaches that joined us a year ago is back for year number 2. It's Layla Gilman from the Tipton Blue Devils. Coach, thank you so much for the time. And I think last year we were talking as much about upcoming wedding plans as we were for the start of the season. What's it like to now just kind of be coach and wife and have that put behind you?
Yeah, we're a year in now, so I'm excited to get started with this new group of girls. We've got 100% focus on this basketball season, and we're ready to go.
All right, so with that, 16-10 last year, lost in the sectional final again. You had a very experienced team last year. When you look back to last season, what were you most proud of?
Just most proud of all the girls and how hard they worked day in and day out. Having Ashley Schramm, we were really fortunate with that. Just having those leaders be proud of our school and playing really hard every game.
And you've been all around Tipton for most of your life. You've been all around basketball for all your life, but It was the first year being the head coach of your hometown high school. What was that experience like?
It was absolutely amazing. It's something that has always been a dream of mine, to go back, coach at the school that and for the community that has given so much to me. It really did mean an awful lot, and I'm just so thankful that I get to continue on this journey with my school. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome. All right, now you hit on a key word, new. You've got a young basketball team. I know the first game didn't go the way it had hoped for. It was a little bit of a learning experience. So just how different is practice leading up to games this year, knowing you're doing things a lot differently with a different group than you had a season ago?
Yeah, absolutely. So different. It's a lot of learning.
Sure.
And not just for the girls, for me too. Taking a step back, thinking about how I introduce new things, thinking about those little tiny things that I really need to focus on day in and day out to make us as successful as we can going forward.
From a goal-setting standpoint, let's face it, if you play the game, there's a reason we keep score.
Mhm.
You want to win it. But how do you kind of change, hey, this is what makes you successful. Hey, this is what shows me we're having progress. As a coach, how do you kind of change that mindset?
So even going back to when I played and things like that, I really tried to focus on winning moments.
Sure.
And breaking it down as small as we can. You know, getting back on defense. That's one of our main goals going forward from this first game. So if we can just start winning moments, start winning defensive possessions, offensive possessions, that's just taking it little by little, step by step, all together.
It's always a fine line you walk. You don't want to make losing seem acceptable, but you also don't want to lose your team, a week into the season as well. So how do you try to come back and practice the next day and make sure that it's positive? It's not being down in the dumps all the time.
Yeah, we just keep trying to learn and grow and talking about that. We're committed to our team. We're committed to our school. We've got a good fan base and things like that. So just trying to play for each other, play for our fans, things like that, keeping the mindset going in the right way, and just trying to get better every single day.
All right, tell us about the young ladies who are going to be joining us here in the next segment of the show.
So I've got two seniors here with us, Carroll and Allie Powell. Allie started for us last year. She, during soccer season, actually had an injury that is inhibiting her from playing this year. Yeah. But we're extremely fortunate to still have her in her leadership, and she's taking on more of a coaching role for us this year. And then Kyra's coming back. This is her fourth year playing basketball, kind of stepping into the varsity role, playing a lot of minutes for us this year. And then Holland Wilson, she is a junior this year, and she played behind Ashley Schramm last year, so she got to learn and grow a lot of competitiveness against Ashley last year, but she's stepping into a huge role leadership-wise and on the court for us this year.
Coach, I know, again, an entirely different experience, but still one you can learn a lot from and grow from. And again, you said so many of the right things in terms of representing the town and the community, and be proud of that. Layla, thanks for the time, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Layla Gilman, head coach of the Tipton Lady Blue Devils. Some of those players will join us when we come back as you're watching the 2023 Coca-Cola of Kokomo Tip-Off Special right here on ISC. Ball here. Harris scores. With 19 seconds left.
Fake players, big boy. I'm telling you right now, that's awesome. I love it.
Layup taken, and an and one. All right, back in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network, our season tip-off special brought to us by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Once again, Tipton kind enough to join us for a second segment. Kyra Lay is to my left, Allie Powell and Holland Wilson to my right. Ladies, thank you very much. And Allie, I'll start with you. You have a coaching role, as Layla said, because unfortunately a soccer injury did some significant damage to your knee. So
It did.
How do you cope with not getting to play your senior year of high school basketball?
It's been really frustrating. Beginning of the year, obviously, not being able to finish my soccer season. But It's more of a mental game. I mean, this isn't my first injury, so I'm kind of just getting over it, still being a part of the team, still giving back to the program that gave so much to me, and wanting these girls to succeed more than I want even myself to succeed.
Are you hoping to play either soccer or basketball in college, or do you know this is because of that need is kind of the end of the line for you?
It's probably going to be the end of the line. If anything, probably intramurals in college. Nothing D1 or nothing like going for the sport or anything. So.
All right, so just what is practice like for you? Because obviously you got your own rehab just to be healthy.
Yeah.
But you're trying to be the best teammate you can possibly be. What's practice like for you?
Cheering on the team, obviously. I'm not going to lie, I am hard on the girls, but that's just because I want the best for them. I'm out there. I am helping when I can and giving them instruction, going through plays with them and stuff, and just having their back but still being hard on them.
All right, so with that, Kyra, also a senior, what is it like knowing this is the final time that you get to represent Tipton, at least in basketball for you?
It's kind of like weird, just like transferring out from like going into high school and then getting ready for college and just trying to make that next step. So it's kind of weird, kind of sad too.
Understood. And you've been a part of some really great teams that kind of the previous 3 years. I know getting to go down all the way to Cambridge Fieldhouse obviously was a big deal for you and your teammates back then. A favorite moment playing for the Blue Devils up until now?
Probably the team dinners and stuff, I would say. Those are always the great food and just great conversations and having a great time.
From a leadership standpoint, what do you try to do in terms of games, practice, et cetera, to set that tempo, knowing you have such a young team around you this year?
Just trying to encourage everybody, making sure everybody keeps their heads up, because I know we can all be hard on ourselves. So just like trying to push to the best, but also learn and just staying positive.
All right, Holland, I hear that you got to practice against 6'2", 6'3", a great deal the last few years. What was that like competing against such a quality player like Ashley Schramm?
It was fun. She was super funny and just a good teammate, really encouraging, helped me with a lot of post moves and everything, and it was just a fun experience for me to be able to play with someone like that.
Unfortunately, you don't get that training this year. The benefit is there's a lot more playing time for you at the center position. How big of a change has that been for you?
A very big change. I'm not used to the varsity speed, and especially being the post that everybody wants to throw it to. It's a little rough.
Well, again, first game I know did not go the way anybody had hoped for from a margin standpoint. What was practice like the couple of days after that as you're trying to kind of pick up the pieces?
Practice was fine. We ran through a lot of drills that helped with the mistakes we made in the games, and we're working on fixing what we did wrong and just learning to be a better team.
Just how much do you hear Allie in practice encouraging from the sidelines?
I hear a lot from Allie.
Kyra, what are some of the goals that you have set for this season? Again, maybe the overall record might look different, but just what are some things going to make this a good senior basketball season for you?
Just like trying to keep myself in the game and not being so hard on myself, and making sure that everybody else stays positive and that we don't give up so early in the game when we're down, because when we do that, that could make a huge outcome.
Holland, for you, what are some of the goals you've set for this year?
I want to be able to play with lots of defense on me and not freak out a little bit.
Always a good thing, yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, in terms of goals, you can encourage, you can point things out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to have that impact. So what do you kind of do to kind of just keep your sanity and keep doing what you're doing during this process?
Honestly, just giving advice. I like, just from my past, I mean, I played a ton of varsity minutes, especially like freshman to junior year. So, I mean, underclassmen, like giving them the advice that I had growing from my freshman year, giving to them, and starting from baby steps, because obviously it is a growing year. So starting little and getting bigger as we grow, probably.
We talked about, you're going to dominate, in terms of rec leagues, intramurals. What's the college plans for you?
Purdue, study selling and sales management and communications.
You and I need to have a conversation probably a few years down the road. Kyra, what's the after high school plans for you?
I want to go to Purdue and get a degree in animal science and veterinarian, and then hopefully ag business.
Tremendous. Ladies, thank you very much. best of luck kind of bouncing back in the next game, and thanks for spending your Tuesday evening with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to the Tipton Lady Blue Devils coming up to join us. Stay tuned. More comes your way next from Halfman Brewery in Kokomo right here on the ISC Sports Network. Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network, and we are thrilled to have the Logansport Berries on the Coca-Cola of Kokomo tip-off special for the first time. They are a brand new member of the Coca-Cola of Kokomo family. And Matt Lang, the boys' head coach, kind enough to join us now. Matt, thank you for the time, and I know you're now a couple of days into practice. How's it been going for you so far?
Really good. We're excited about this year and ready to get going. We finished up cuts today, and we'll start in the morning about 6:30 and get them going for Plymouth next week. So.
All right, let's talk about this legendary venue. I mean, we have it in Kokomo with Memorial Gymnasium, but the Berry Bowl does not take a back seat to anybody. What's it like to call that your office every day?
It's pretty nice. It came from a small school, so being in a gym like that everybody talks about when you're in there, it's pretty nice. Yeah, a lot of memories in there, and it's pretty special for everyone.
8-16 the first year, and again, I'm sure there are things you look at that are bigger than record or whatever the case may be. When you look back to last season, what was your greatest sense of accomplishment from year number one?
We took a team that only won the 3 games the year before, turned it into 8 games, and that was the biggest part of the accomplishment. We were young last year. We had some injuries from football that kept some of our seniors out, so some of these guys that will be coming on after me, they played a crucial role. So getting them moving towards where they need to be this year was a pretty good accomplishment. So.
In terms of returnees, what sort of percentage of kids do you bring back from that first team of yours?
Well, that's what we're excited about. We got 4 starters coming back from last year, which is big, and they comprise of about 95% of the scoring. And we got a couple kids that played JV last year who will be juniors this year that are going to be big for us this year. So
something that is unique to you guys, and obviously you guys historically have been a member of the North Central Conference. That run comes to an end at the end of this year, and again, you can probably worry about that a year from now in terms of a different schedule. But does it put even more of an emphasis on those conference games knowing it's the last time around this year?
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to finish well in the conference this year or possibly win. It's just a tough. It's every year it's the same thing. It's a grind, and it's really, really tough competition. So excited about the new conference and the opportunities next year, but it doesn't get any easier. I mean, you just had Tipton on here, and Tipton's a special team year after year, and some of those teams in that conference are very, very, very good. But, looking forward to this year in the North Central and hopefully have a good season.
What are some of the goals you set for this group this year, Coach?
Oh, goodness. Definitely, I've got a win total that I'd like to see them hit.
Sure.
That's for sure. Definitely finishing at the top half of the conference and make a nice run in the sectional and see what we can do. But like always, the sectional is pretty tough where we're at, and Kokomo's a pretty darn good team, I would say, again this year. So that would be a really good for us, but for that senior group and the guys behind them to play about as good as they can.
We talked about this with Coach Hawkins. Tipton Tri-Central is a big deal. When I think of Logansport Peru, I frankly think of the football opener because of his history of it being played for basically a century at this point. My guess would be is that you kind of feel the same way with the basketball rivalry as well, correct?
Of course, Lewis Cass probably our biggest rival as we're coming out. Peru again this year is going to be unbelievably good. They return about everyone from last year's squad. So for us, that's a big litmus test early in the year, and we'll see what goes from there. It's funny you say Tipton Tri-Central. I'm from Tri-Central, so we understand what's going on there. So yeah, quite similar with Lewis Cass. But that opener, last year the opener was. The first time these guys played under me as a head coach, so it was a little bit weird for us. But this year, we got a little bit different.
All right, tell us about the young man that'll be joining us here in the next segment of the show.
I brought 3 seniors with me. Jacob Taylor, who averaged about 18 points a game last year. I got Cooper Smith, who played a big role, kind of a utility type guy who we're going to ask to do a lot more this year, and Isaac Russell, who's a knockdown shooter from the 3-point line. So yeah, a good group of kids.
I am fortunate enough to get to call a decent amount of games during the postseason in the Berry Bowl. I hope to see your team in one of those games, or I'll get up there for a regular season game in the near future. Matt, thanks for the time, buddy.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
You got it. Matt Lang, again, the head coach at Logansport High School, and clearly a very proud Tri-Central alum, as we learned in this segment of the show as well. Those three players he talked about join us next here on the ISC Sports Network. Welcome back on the ISC Sports Network. And the Logansport Berries joining us for the first time in our Coca-Cola of Kokomo tip-off special. I've got Jacob Taylor, Cooper Smith, Isaac Russell that join us now. All guys back from last year's Logansport squad. And let me start with you, playing for Coach Lang. What was that like for the first time last year?
You know, it was really cool and a good experience because at Logansport we've had, for me and then these guys, we've had a new coach for our freshman, sophomore, and now our junior. But now, since this is our first year with the same coach for 2 years, I think that'll be really good.
Just having a coach the second time around,
Yeah.
how much easier was this offseason for you?
It was a lot easier. You're used to the offense over the summer, so you're able to build upon it very well. And I think it'll be a big step forward for this year.
When you look back to last year, again, 8-16, there's some good wins there. But what were you most proud of? What you and your teammates accomplished a season ago?
A lot of the games that we were in, we were competing. So it's not like we lost by, like 20 every game. We were competing in every single game. So,
Cooper, I'll ask this question again. This year's schedule will look a lot like last year's schedule, but this officially will be Logansport's last run through the North Central Conference, a league that generations have been a part of. Just what's the extra added emphasis on those games? Is there one for you guys this year because of that?
Yeah, I think we all love playing those big schools, the Lafayette schools, Kokomo, all of them, because they bring a good level of competition that might be left behind, but not to go down to the other conference. Not putting any shame on them, but it's just a high level of basketball in the North Central Conference. So I think it's always a big edge when we're going into those games. It just means a lot more.
Jacob, you know anything else because you've always called the Berry Bowl home, but to have a venue like that is so historically significant in the state of Indiana, what's it like they're practicing every day?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, when you go in there every day, and a couple years ago we had a coach come through and he would show us a book of all the historic gyms, and it's cool to see how historic just our gym is and just to practice in there every single day.
I know you guys are now a couple of days in to practice. How have the first couple of practice days gone for you guys so far?
they've gone pretty good. I've had to sit out the first two because I had a little shoulder injury in the last football game, but I plan to be back tomorrow, and I'm just excited to get back out there.
I know in talking with Coach Lang, we talked about big rivals. You know, Peru and Lewis Cass came to mind. If I asked you, biggest rival for you guys, who would it be?
I'd have to say Lewis Cass, just because we play them in the tournament, start the year every year, and it's always really competitive.
For you?
Yeah, I'd go Lewis Cass too.
A clean sweep, or are you going a different direction?
Going with Lewis Cass.
All right. What are some of the goals that you have set for you and your teammates this year?
Well, hopefully that, see, every year since my sophomore year and then my junior year, we've always gained wins.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that this year, me and the team have hoped to get around that 15 mark. And if we can get a little below or a little high, that's what we're aiming for.
From a goal standpoint, what are you looking at this year?
I know we're definitely trying to turn the record around for sure, get it to a positive record, and just build what we have this year and leave it all out there for our senior year.
And again, you get the final word on this one. What's going to make this a good season for you and your teammates?
I think just showing growth. We've got a lot of young kids coming up, so I think just watching them, letting them get varsity reps, and then watching them in the future will be fun.
There are so many big postseason games played in your building. Hope you guys get a chance to play in those games coming up this year. Fellas, thanks for the time and good luck this season.
Thank you.
That's the word from the Logansport Berries. Back with more in a moment here on the ISC Sports Network.
Touchdown, West Lafayette!
Hemingway!
Look out! Look out! Lowers his shoulder. Great answer by Lafayette. Touches, takes home the victory. Taking down the record. Throws it deep. He's got a man and it's taking it.
He's trying to find a lane. Walker has hit his second home run of the tournament. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this season tip-off special. Thank you to the coaches and student athletes from Tipton, from Taylor, from Kokomo, from Carroll, from Logansport for all giving up time of their Tuesday evening to join us to tell you more about their stories. Thanks to the wonderful staff at Half Moon Brewery. I can tell you from experience, the service here is fantastic. The food is just awesome. Obviously, as you can tell from all the signage behind me, this would not be possible without Coca-Cola of Kokomo. So thanks to Brandon and Craig and everybody involved behind the scenes at this wonderful partnership that we have with the ISC Sports Network. Our crew, floor director today was J.D. Yarlin. He was Grand Central Station, getting all the teams and players up here on the set with me. And thanks to Vince Morales and Jordan Shue behind the scenes, making sure our signal gets to you however we can get it to you. Now, as far as the teams that you saw up here today, you'll see a lot of the Kokomo boys, a lot of the Carroll girls and boys on the ISC Sports Network. For a full listing of our games in our archive that now goes into a second decade, ISCSportsNetwork.com. Always have more. Best of luck to your team this basketball season, and thanks for joining us here at ISC.